tremendously proud to be the chancellor of a system that has an R1 university in its midst. I want to congratulate the president of the university and the team that brought this recognition about. But most importantly, I want to thank the faculty and the students, undergraduates, master's and doctoral programs that have supported our research efforts along with the faculty for so many years. This is a recognition, I believe, overdue, but one which we are so very, very proud to have accomplished. And I give great thanks to the president for her leadership, to Cody, who really was so important to the effort and quite frankly explained how daunting this challenge would be and how long it would take, and lo and behold, we have it. Let me also say to the people of Maine, you should be extremely proud that Maine now has an R1 university in its as part of our system, and our students do not have to go to another state to be educated at an R1 research institution. And that is a great day for all the people of Maine. And we hope to continue to play a leading role in developing Maine's economy. And that effort will be strengthened by this recognition.
Thank you, Chancellor Malloy. President Ferrini-Mundy.
Thank you, Dan. I join the Chancellor in expressing my pride at being a part of this incredible team, this incredible university that has achieved a well-deserved recognition today. It's the result of really years of work, making explicit this goal to become R1 in 2019. We had been planning and working toward this for years, but we really now, we've made this. And I can't tell you how pleased I am with all of what this means for us, for our alums who now can claim that they are alums of an R1 institution, for our future students who should come and join us, because this brings us into a national prominence that I believe we deserve here at the University of Maine, and that we now really have through this recognition. This kind of research designation is really something that spans across an entire research enterprise. So faculty, staff, students, our partners in the private sector, our partners across the state, all of those who've been a part of growing our R&D enterprise, our ability to have the facilities, the labs, the talent, the assets here on this campus to solve problems at the international and national and state level, and in particular as the land-grant university to be a resource to the state of Maine that spans this entire state. Very important and wonderful that we're able to have this recognition today. We have now the opportunity for students in Maine to be attending a true global university with access to all of what that brings. And I'm so pleased again to be a part of this announcement this afternoon. So I'm happy to introduce a few attendees who are some of our superstars, and they will be here to answer your questions. So first, Paul Majewski, will you just wave so that folks know? They can see your name, I suppose. Dr. Majewski is the professor and director of UMaine's Climate Change Institute. Breaking news for Professor Majewski today with a piece that's being published in Nature Portfolio, the Journal of Climate and Atmospheric Science, about human-induced climate change impacting the highest reaches of the planet based on the Mount Everest expedition. So again, just sort of everyday news here. It's extraordinary now. I will also introduce Melissa McGinnis, professor of microbiology and lead of the Associate Professor of Microbiology and lead of our University of Maine System Science Advisory Board, a fantastic colleague who continues her own outstanding work in applying for and achieving success with outside funding, and continues to lead our scientific discussions around the pandemic. Jake Ward. Jake?
I think Jake was able to join us.
Jake is unable to join us, but we can make him available.
Yep.
Okay. Then Jason Sharland, who is the senior advisor to the president and director of research development. He has been key in all of this effort to get us to this place, working behind the scenes and working closely with faculty to help develop their opportunities to seek external funding. And then Pips Veazey, who has joined us relatively recently as the director of the University of Maine Portland Gateway, one of our offices in Portland now that is really seeking to be sure that the community in the southern part of the state has access to all of us. So with that, have I missed anybody in that part?
I think we're good.
Ashley Forbes from the Office of the Vice President for Innovation and Economic Development is also here to help us answer questions. And with that, I'm just thrilled to introduce Vice President for Research and Director of the Graduate School, Cody Vararamian, who really is the star, one of the major stars of all of this. His diligence, his carefulness, his deep understanding of what it means to be a modern university were some of the first conversations that we had when I got here. And so here we are. So I believe you're next, Cody.
Well, thank you very much, President Ferrini-Mundy, for your very kind introduction of me. I'm really delighted to be joining this event. It's indeed a wonderful event this afternoon. So as far as my few remarks here, I just want to highlight that the R1 designation really affirms that the University of Maine is a premier doctoral granting national university with very high research activity. And with respect to research activity, we have been on the growth mode, including for the past 2 years when UMaine has realized all-time high records for research funding. Specifically for fiscal year 2021, externally generated R&D funding reached $133.6 million, or a 135% growth over 5 years. And research and development expenditures reached $179.3 million, or 80% growth over a 5-year period. Moreover, during the same period of time, UMaine also achieved the highest graduate and doctoral student enrollment ever. Nationally, there are close to 4,000 colleges and universities, and only at this point, 146 of these institutions are recognized as R1 universities, or this translates to about 3.7% of all degree granting institutions. Overall, the R1 designation is in recognition that over the past several years at UMaine, through strategic planning and coordinated efforts, a modern 21st century research university has been created with nationally and internationally recognized programs of global impact and local relevance, which address the workforce needs and advance the social and economic development of Maine and beyond. I also would like to take this opportunity to express my deep appreciation to our talented faculty, staff, as well as students for all of their contributions that have resulted in this R1 designation. Thank you.
Thank you, Cody, very much. Next, we're going to hear from Matt Fowler, who is a PhD student from Presque Isle originally and a research engineer at the Advanced Structure and Composite Center. Matt?
Hello, everyone. It's really an honor to be here. I'm very happy. I was ecstatic to receive the news that UMaine was getting this recognition. I think it's well deserved. I've been at the university since my undergraduate years. I've received 2 master's degrees from here, and I'm most of the way through my PhD. So I certainly love the educational opportunities I've been given. It's really shaped my life. I don't know if you can see in my Zoom background now, but I'm a staff engineer at the Composite Center, and that is actually a photo of our wind wave lab, which is just one of the many exciting research opportunities that the university provides to students. I worked there in my graduate years, and I'm now the manager of that facility, working with people from all over the world doing exciting research. So I'm a very small part of a very large team that's doing amazing things. There are people who are developing much larger scale things. Like if you look at Dr. Dagger's background, I work with things the size of me. He works with things the size of small buildings. So it's really a tremendous opportunity to be here. And these are the types of opportunities that I think an R1 designation it'll give more perspective and more availability to people, help us recruit people to come to Maine. I've tried to recruit people to come here in the middle of February, and that's sometimes tough when they're driving through 2 feet of snow. But just you can't argue with the caliber of research we're doing, and the people I've worked with have really been top notch. So it couldn't be happier.
Matt, that was excellent. Thanks so much for sharing that. Avery Bond is a PhD student in microbiology and from Jefferson, Maine originally. Avery, could you share your thoughts with us about what the R1 distinction or classification means for you?
Absolutely. So as a PhD student native to the state of Maine, I'm especially excited about this. So I think Maine can sometimes be viewed as an underdog due to small population size, but this recognition seriously proves that we are far from that. I think we work hard, and it's nice to see that these efforts don't go unnoticed. And so R1 classification makes UMaine more attractive overall to both faculty and students alike, as it speaks to the rigor and intensity of our research programs here. And this allows for our university to recruit exceptional students and faculty members, ultimately improving the overall quality of our research here. And additionally, opportunities for collaborations have already been plentiful, including a collaboration which has allowed me to work with SARS-CoV-2, which has been very cool. However, R1 status will encourage even more collaborations within our nation as well as globally, and that's always a wonderful thing. And on a personal level, my future degree will therefore become more prestigious, which could be especially significant during my job search post-graduation. And I just think this is really exciting overall.
Thank you, Avery, very much. Next, we're going to hear briefly from Assistant Vice President for Research and School of Forest Resources Professor Sandra Thay-Deleste-Stone. Sandra.
Thank you, Dan. This is a very exciting week for us all. The R1 classification is a recognition of the innovative, creative, and important work being conducted at UMaine in the science, technology, arts, and humanities. To me, this designation reflects the hard work, vision, and collaboration of our strategic leaders that set a clear goal and pathway, our productive faculty and researchers in diverse fields who are leading in many areas of research and arts and who are devoted to training our students, our graduate and undergraduate students who are essential to research and arts endeavors and who are making a huge difference globally and locally, to our committed staff who are integral to the grant writing, grant administration, and research compliance. And last but not least, our non-academic partners who contribute ideas, resources, and with which we work together in solving problems through our rigorous research and creative activity. So congratulations to you all, and thank you for making a difference.
Sandra, thank you so much. And next we'll hear from Habib Dagher about bigger bridges and higher windmills because of R1. Not to set you up, but.
What an exciting day for all of us. I'd like to thank our president, our chancellor, and our leadership here for setting a goal, and our vice president for research. But 36 years ago, when I came to the University of Maine, we would not have dreamt to be an R1 institution. It's a completely different university today than it was 36 years ago. 36 years ago, I worked in the basement of a lab that didn't have lights. Today, we have a 100,000 square foot lab that's world leading and recognized globally. Examples of research in offshore wind technology: UMaine leads the country in floating offshore wind research. UMaine leads the country in composite materials applied to bridges and infrastructure and runs a transportation center that includes all New England universities. UMaine leads the country in large-scale additive manufacturing, where we're printing boats, and then we've printed a 25-foot boat a couple of years ago, and we're about to print bigger ones going forward. So I'd like to thank also our congressional delegation, Senator Collins and King particularly, and Congressman Golden and Congresswoman Pingree for all the support they've provided the university over the years to help us get to this point.
Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you, Habib. So with that, I would welcome members of the media to ask if they'd like to have questions, if you'd like to be recognized in the chat. That's I found to be the most efficient way to do that. Or Chris, you took yourself off, you added your video. Would you like to go first?
I guess that's the indication. Sorry,
Yeah.
I was just going to raise my hand. You know what? I guess this question could really be for anybody. It would probably be for perhaps Cody. I'm sorry, Mr. I'm sorry, Cody. I'm going to mispronounce your last name, but I want to make sure I get it right. Vararamian. Did I get it correct?
Perfect.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sir, can you explain this designation? You guys have explained so well how this will attract not only a higher caliber of students, but as well as the faculty. And you talked a lot about the collaborations that have been going on. This new designation, what will it be the tipping point for? Were there collaborations that we were waiting on, that there were certain entities that said, oh, well, we'd really like to see an R1 designation? What does this allow you to do in that aspect?
Well, overall, we are essentially at this point as though we have like a national stamp of approval that indeed we are a premier doctoral granting, very high activity research university, and only one of 146 of them in the nation. So we are really in a very good group of universities, you know. And so that means that we'll have major impact on all areas of the university mission, really, you know. And that also means that not only our researchers essentially will have better recognition, will be able to attract better funding, do bigger projects, and better serve the state of Maine and beyond. But also, you know, it has major impact on the quality of our education, you know, and a recognition that already we have good education and it's going to become even better and better. And that it means that, you know, in terms of attracting students to the university and meeting the workforce needs of the state and its social and economic development as well.
Got it. Dan, hopefully you can help me direct this next question to the appropriate person. Does this mean it will be more difficult, essentially, for a student to get into UMaine because of the caliber of students you'll be attracting, those with maybe higher grade point averages or higher SAT scores or other graduate level exams that would, you know, qualify them to come to the university, be accepted to the university?
I think we'll start with the Chancellor on that one, and perhaps the President then. Oh, you're on mute, sir.
Sorry. I think the way to properly look at it is no student in Maine who desires to study and receive a degree from an R1 institution now has to leave Maine. I think this is a public service, not a takeaway. And the reality is we know that students have opted. Maine students have opted in the past to go to a university that had an R1 designation, costing that student more money, family more money, travel expenses, and you know, as well. And so really this in some way can be seen as an act of bringing to the people of Maine the opportunities that they would have if they had lived in another state. We don't want people to leave Maine. In fact, we want people to move here. And I think this will also be an attraction.
I'll just add to that in parallel with all of this activity, with a very strong focus on making research accessible and available to undergraduates, with our very generous funding from the Harold Alfond Foundation, we are piloting system-wide now across every university in the system the chance to engage in some kind of research as a first-year student, which we actually think will attract Maine students. They'll be excited. They'll be able to see ways that their education can lead them into careers and pathways, if they are interested, that will help directly within the state of Maine. And a piece of what supports all of that, all of this, is the very important investment by the legislature in the Maine Economic Improvement Fund, the MEIF dollars that are very vital to keeping our system and UMaine in particular well equipped to meet these research and development needs, both for our state and to engage with our students.
Dan, if you don't mind, I have one last question for Avery. Avery, can you talk a little bit about what it's like to be able to do the research that you've done on something that's developing and ever changing, like COVID-19, literally right before our very eyes, right here in Maine at this university?
I think I'm just so excited about it. I think it's such a unique opportunity, and it's a relatively new opportunity. We are the only group that has utilized this facility to work with this pathogen, and I just think it's very exciting, and I'm sure there are opportunities elsewhere. But again, as a Mainer, I think it's very neat that we have these opportunities right here in the state. And I love the state of Maine, and most people that I know that have moved here also have fell in love with the state of Maine. So I think it's really important that we have these opportunities here.
Thank you, Dan.
You all set? I mean, you broadcast in 2 media markets, so we gave you one extra question. So, but thank you for.
No, I want to make sure I give everybody else a chance too. I'll come back if I have more.
Thank you, Chris, very much. Do we have any other questions from anyone? Allegra, James?
Yes, I'd love to direct a question to Paul. Actually, your research focuses on Mount Everest, a place that is not quite a stone's throw away from Maine. How would you say the university, do you think you could have done this sort of research, at any other university, and how has the university, guided you and supported you in your studies and your findings on Mount Everest?
I think the best way to start to answer that is to say that our university is filled with a remarkable amount of talent related to research and also support, not only administrative support in Cody's office, but also we have a group that does remarkable machining of that allows us to build drills to work in the places that we do, remarkable ability to store large amounts of data and synthesize that data. And it's particularly important in today's world in which we have so many grand challenges that require complex problem solving, to have an array of people similar to the types of people that we have in this university. I'll mention that the Climate Change Institute this year, celebrating its 50th anniversary. We are one of the oldest climate research units in the world. And our accomplishments include not just organizing a massive program for National Geographic and Rolex on Mount Everest, but our faculty have also led traverses across Antarctica that have discovered new things about how Antarctica actually interacts with the rest of the world. We've been very much influenced in a new program called Navigating the New Arctic through the National Science Foundation. Because of the opening up of the Arctic and the warming, we've been pioneers in demonstrating that as the Arctic begins to warm, so in fact will we see changes in atmospheric circulation patterns, meaning all of the storms, the drought, and many other things, wildfires that are going on around the world. So while our institute, along with the rest of the university, ideally, we all do things that are very valuable to the state. In our case, we also work outside the state to be able to understand what sort of things influence our state, how is the world changing, what are the geopolitical implications for food insecurity, climate change, a variety of other things. And this is a great place to do it because Maine is right on the edge of the Arctic. Maine is will become one of the new crossroads with the Eastern Hemisphere. And we have obviously the proven ability to be able to conduct this research that's so important to understanding grand challenges.
And I want to follow up with a question that really I think anybody can answer, and it was just touched on a little bit earlier. You mentioned, recruiting, students, keeping students in Maine that want to do this research, that want to experience the R1 facility. What is your message to students, especially from Maine? What is your message to students as to how, they can benefit from this?
I think I'll take that one to start and then probably pass it to Melissa maybe. But I think the message, which we're still, of course, crafting, is you come to UMaine. It's a relatively small university in the bigger scheme of things. You will get to know faculty in your earliest time here, and you'll get to be involved with them in their own research, their creative direction, creative development, their work in the arts and humanities. And that will prepare you in very important ways to be a problem solver, to engage with complexity in trying to understand the world around us, and will set you on a course for a career that is unmatchable in terms of what else you're able to get to do here. So Melissa probably could speak to this because she does some very interesting teaching of first and second year students that is research based.
Thank you, President Ferrini-Mundy. So I would tell students that they would have the opportunity at the University of Maine to engage in authentic research experiences that would provide them with transformative educational experiences that really propel them to the next level in their career, whether that may be graduate school or medical school or to go into the workforce. These experiences prepare them by providing critical thinking skills, analytical thinking skills, as well as professional development, and by learning communication skills, which are so important during this time, because it's one thing to be able to do research, but to be able to communicate that to the broader community is also very essential. So that's what I would tell our students. And I think also that this designation will not only help us to continue attracting exceptional students and faculty, but also opens up opportunities to recruit postdoctoral fellows, which really will help to drive research and innovation forward and continue to fuel the economy.
Thank you,
Thank
Melissa. Yep. Good. And last question, if anyone has one more question.
I just have a follow-up to that. I was going to ask mostly the same question, but with that, are there any things you could be doing to maybe, you know, for those high schoolers or students that might not watch the news tonight and see this new designation, that you could be doing sort of on the earlier end of their college decision to sort of let them know that these opportunities exist just in the first place within the state of Maine, maybe in more, you know, rural communities throughout the state that might not know these opportunities even exist in the first place?
Absolutely. So we do engage with the community. So we have middle school students and high school students that visit our laboratories so that they can see research in action. We do also go out to schools to talk about the research that we're doing. We would invite them to come to the UMaine Student Symposium, which will be held April 15th. That would be a great way for students to see the research going on by undergraduates as well as graduate students, and also to engage in science across the state. So to engage in the Maine Science Festival, the Maine State Science Fair for high schoolers and middle school students. I would encourage them to get involved early to fuel all of their curiosity, and that will hopefully attract them to the University of Maine in the future.
We're going to make some awesome TikTok videos with that Cougar event. I'll put the link. So the last word, we'll go to the Chancellor. Chancellor Malloy, do you have any last words for us today?
Yeah, I would say that this is a momentous moment for the state of Maine, for the University of Maine, and quite frankly, for our other universities within our constellation. The reality is that the president of the University of Maine is also a vice chancellor, and in that role is attempting to stand up even greater efforts in research at all of our campuses. And I sometimes refer to Jason as the most popular person in the system because we are, in fact, very interested in assisting all of our professional staff on research. The other thing I would say is we are in the midst of doubling our output in engineering and computing. And there will be more opportunities than ever before to study in those fields, which are foundational in so many ways to the research conducted at any one of our institutions. And we're certainly want to reach out to young women for degrees that sometimes have not been equitably or equally available. That's an important mission for us here in Maine. Otherwise, it's not a sunny day outside, but the sun is shining on the University of Maine at the moment. This is a great and happy day that we will all remember in our professional careers.
Thank you very much, Chancellor Malloy. I want to thank everyone for participating and members of the media.